Okay, run.
Thank you all for coming. My name is David Johnston, and today I'd like to speak for the purpose of supporting veterans to have a more livable life outside the military. So, do you appreciate the right to vote for candidates better suited for various political offices? Do you enjoy the right to bear arms, feel an extra measure of security, protecting your loved ones, protecting yourselves? Do you enjoy the right of free speech, the right to a fair and speedy trial, the right to avoid cruel and unusual punishment? I imagine so. But far too often, many people tend to forget their duties but remember their rights. Freedom is not free, nor was it ever free. The cost was the sacrifices made by many servicemen and many servicewomen of the United States military. And that's what I wish to address today, to help support veterans and wounded warriors to have more of a livable life outside the military, whether it was to pursue education or just move on when their terms of service are over. Just as this country asked for a few years of service for those who volunteered or drafted some decades back, so do I only ask for but a few minutes of your time. We veterans have a saying, all gave some, and some gave all. And by their blood, sweat, and tears are your rights and your freedoms kept safe from those who would remove them from us. And these lands kept safe from those who would remove us from them. But far too often, and even now, the Department of Veterans Affairs has really rewarded their sacrifices with delayed benefits, very poor services, if any services at all. I myself am a veteran. I myself have made sacrifices for this country. And though I stand before you here in one piece of sound mind, I cannot say the same for those who failed to receive the physical and mental health services they so desperately need. And that is what I wish to address today. And I'd like to first speak of the problems at hand concerning the lack of health care and mental health care for our veterans, the manner in which we can go about supporting them, and the possible consequences should lesser or no actions be taken. So to start, veterans are simply not getting the necessary physical and mental health support that they need. A couple of news articles I accessed from Fox News and USA Today. The first one was from Fox News. That was by man Pete Hegseth. He's the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, former executive director of Vets for Freedom. And this is during 2012, October 19th, 2012. At the time, they estimated that in the military there would be layoffs of over 50,000 personnel, most of which would be active duty. Currently, take that back. In 2012, the Veterans Affairs departments had over 890,000 pensions and disability claims that hadn't even been looked over. And at the time, it took roughly 240 days to process the average claim. This is 60 days longer than it was 10 years ago. And the number of 890,000 unprocessed claims was a number that had more than doubled since 2008. On USA Today, they said that in 2013, the Department of Veterans Affairs decided to make a mission to see all new veterans within a 14-day limit. And only a third of them have been seen as such. It had been taking longer than a month, on average, for the average veteran to see a psychiatrist or a counselor to even be assessed to receive any sort of disability compensation whatsoever. A few examples, some of the VA hospitals in Gainesville and Orlando, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas. In these places, 2 out of every 5 veterans actually get seen by the 14-day limit. All the other 3 out of 5 get seen somewhere within 20 to 32 days. Well, the main problem with that is that during 2013, in a veteran population of 20 million, at least 22 veterans committed suicide every day. They felt like they weren't really cared for, that no one cared for what they had done. So, such cold hard truths are seldom something we want to hear, but really something we need to hear. So, how can we go about gradually rectifying the situation? We need to empower and honor those who voluntarily gave up their lives in service for this country and to defend our rights and our freedoms. And one such organization that helps this is the Wounded Warrior Project. They have a website, woundedwarriorproject, all one word, .org. They are a nonprofit organization, offices in 12 different states. They've aided over 40,000 veterans to date, and they seek to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded service members in our nation's history. Their mission is as so, to honor and empower wounded warriors, to raise awareness and enlist the public's aid for the needs of injured service members, to help injured service members aid and assist each other, and to provide unique direct programs and services to meet the needs of injured service members. If you're near any of their 12 locations, I believe there is one in Nashville. Actually, you can go in and sign up, or you can sign up online. Either way, it's free, whether you're a civilian or a veteran. Now, let's talk about where the veterans may end up if they are unable to receive what care that they do need. Combat veterans' mental health and housing situation tends to deteriorate faster than most people realize. And on an article from thinkprogress.org dated January 11, 2014, they say that between 2011 and 2014, the suicide rate of young veterans has actually tripled by a statistic of 33 per 100,000. What that means is now it's young veterans in the high-risk age category, which generally involve extreme post-traumatic stress disorder. They've seen combat on more than one occasion, is roughly 79 per 1,000 every year. And the veteran suicide amongst those enrolled in the Veteran Health Organization has managed to decrease by about 30%, but considering those not enrolled, those who don't have access to these services, that's increased by 60%. They continue to commit suicide while waiting for months to access to help. And returning combat veterans, 15% of whom are already initially diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder before they're even seen by any Veterans Health Administrator, are only able to see a specialist once the VHA personnel have managed to go through the now 900,000 unprocessed claims. So once all those have been gone through, then they can receive help. And it takes months upon months upon months at a time. For some, 8 to 10. Also, according to the website for the National Coalition of Homeless Veterans, dated November 10th, 2014, at any given point in time, at least 50,000 veterans are homeless. Though the VA's specialized homelessness programs have managed to provide care for roughly 150,000, and it's a very limited care. There's still 40,000 plus that are not receiving the sufficient enough physical and mental health care that they need, any sort of compensation whatsoever. And these other statistics that kind of stack on top of each other as one number applies to more than one group. 51% of individual homeless veterans have physical disabilities, 50% have mental disabilities, and of all homeless veterans, 50% of them are 51 or older. So hopefully at this point you might be willing to offer a bit of aid for struggling veterans. And this is how you can go about doing so. A couple of ways are that you can, well, I'll take that back, a few ways. You can print out a mail order form on their website. It's located on the right. It's under woundedwarrior.org/giveback. If you can't find the link, it should be there on the right. And you can make a one-time donation with a fixed dollar amount, or you can put in your own dollar amount and fill out your information and so on. Or you can make a monthly donation. So every month you fill in the dollar amount you wish to give every month, and it shall be so. So really, knowing that you've aided a veteran who's signed above their own free will to die for your rights, for your country, for you, is really a feeling that money cannot buy. And if you're unable to donate, at least spread the word. At least thank a veteran for what they've done. for their voluntary service so that they made a sacrifice that you don't have to. So, I've just presented with you the problem at hand involving the lack of care for our veterans, the manner in which you could go about helping them out a little, and problems that we may be facing in the future should little or no action be taken. Your donation and your contribution, large or small, can and will give greater meaning to what they've done, to what they've put themselves in front of. And if you choose not to donate, choose not to give, that's okay. Then you're exercising your right to choose who you do or do not wish to donate to. I only ask that you remember that many veterans suffered, and one of the warriors have died to defend that right of yours as well. Thank you.